If you like feel-good stories, this podcast is a can't miss. If you love stories about achievement, doubling, tripling business, this podcast episode is one you can't afford to miss. If you just love to be introduced to cool-ass people so that you can say you know one extra cool-ass person, today's podcast guest is someone that you are going to want to follow, you're going to want to connect with, and equals that cool-ass person. Check this out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and a very special guest. She flew her happy ass all the way down from Massachusetts, where she is avoiding the snow. Last year, she funded $28 million in volume. This year, she'll do $40 million in volume. That's up from just $12 million in volume in 2024. She was by choice a single mom at age 22. She's only been in the mortgage industry for 3 years. She is hot to trot all over social, and she's a kick-ass human being. She is the one, the only, Kayla Tarabay.
Did it.
Kayla, I did it. Yes. Welcome to the Loan Officer Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This is super fun. You and I got to meet in real life back in January. You worked for Novus Home Mortgage. A lot of my friends over at Novus Home Mortgage. And you won their Rising Star Award, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. So cool. And your story's even cooler, right? And you're like a cool ass person.
I try.
So you try? Do you try?
I try.
You try? Yeah. Yeah. You got your hair did. You got your blazer on. You're
That's
ready to
it.
rock and roll. Yeah, so Kayla came up to me. Actually, Eric, your boss, Eric Egenhofer, pulled me aside and goes, "Hey, you got to get to know Kayla." I'm like, "All right, cool. Like, why do I need to get to know Kayla?" And he kind of gave me your background. And then it just so happened that your boss, Chris, and I were already connected. And I know your manager, Chris. And then Chris came up to me and said, "Hey, you got to get to know Kayla." I was like, "All right, I need to get to know Kayla." Then you and I got to meet. And I was like, "Wait a minute. Why don't you come on the show?" And you're like, "For real?" I'm like, "Yeah, all you have to do is come to Orlando." And you said, "Well, it kind of sucks in Boston.
Yeah.
Most winters, even in the early spring. Sure, why not? I'll hop on a flight and come down and hang out with you." So that's what we're going to do today.
I'm so excited about that. It was snowing yesterday, so
Yeah.
this is perfect.
All right. There's so many different angles we want to take today's episode. Like, I want to talk a little bit about your journey because you have a really cool journey for the audience. And we won't get a whole lot of time to like go down this rabbit hole. But, Kayla at age 22 adopted her niece who was 5 years of age. You had been helping raise your niece since when she was born,
Yep.
right?
And I was 18.
And when you're 18, but
Yep.
you officially adopted her at age 22. She's now 16.
Yep.
So by choice, you have been a single mom for the past 22 years, not just, surviving, but thriving. And, mortgage hasn't always been your career choice,
No.
right? So, and on top of that, you've only been in mortgage for 3 years. You're going to personally fund $40 million in volume, right? That's going to put you in the top 1% of all originators. That's going to put you in the top 1% of all income earners in the U.S. And you yourself still have 50, 60 years ahead of you to live your life and leave your mark. This is going to be a cool ass episode, but this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take a quick pause. We're going to hear from today's show sponsor. Then we're going to come back. And I'm going to want to start off with how you got into the mortgage industry, what you've learned, and how you've been able to go from essentially 12 million to 28 million to 40 million, because you hold the secrets that so many other people want. But first, a word from today's show sponsor. The Gathering by Housing Wire is coming up in Austin this April from the 27th through the 30th. And after missing last year and dealing with that FOMO, I am already registered. I want to make sure that this is an event that y'all have on your radar. I remember my first time attending the Gathering. That year, the event was held in Arizona, and I was blown away. It was the first time I went to an event where the who's who of both mortgage and real estate were attending the same conference. It's been 2 years since I was last at the Gathering, and I'm still working with and collaborating with some of the people I met while attending this once-a-year event. Some of these people have now become friends as well as clients. I hear from you all the time about how you want to step up your game, run in bigger circles, and have the inside track on what is actually happening in the real estate and mortgage industries. Well, this event will allow you to check all of those boxes plus so much more. So go ahead and get registered today. Come hang out with me in Austin. The website to get started is housingwire.com/events and use my code TLOP10 for 10% off. So again, housingwire.com/events and use my code TLOP10. That's TLOP10. And at checkout, you'll get 10% off. I look forward to seeing you at this year's gathering. So we're back. All right, Kayla, so let's start here. Born and raised in Massachusetts.
Yes, sir.
Right? You went to school for mortgages, right?
No, I definitely didn't.
You definitely did.
I definitely did.
Okay, what did you do prior to the mortgage industry?
I was a medical billing supervisor.
Okay, so you, out of high school or out of college, got into medical billing?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No. Out of high school, I wanted to be a nurse. So I was trying to go to college and do nursing school. I was working at medical tubing factories, fiber optic laser factories. It's crazy to think that that's where I was working back then. But I was 13 when I started my first job. So I worked at a pizza place, and then I worked at 2 pizza places by 16, graduated, and then I was going to college. I had my niece, and I was doing all her drop-off for daycare, play dates, dentist appointments, all the things, and going to school.
At 19?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just figured, okay, this isn't working out.
It
Too
was
hard to do?
It was hard to go to school and have a kid, and I wasn't focusing enough.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't working for me. So I was like, well, if I work more, I make more. So that was my thought. I couldn't work less when you're trying to also provide for another human being. So I just started working. And then I got an opportunity at Wells Fargo to do auto loans and auto collections. Best opportunity I ever had.
What did that teach you?
So working collections, it definitely taught me how to deal with different personalities, because we're collecting on people who are past due and they're not paying their bills. So try to have that conversation with somebody that their car is about to be repossessed. It's not great. But you have to handle it delicately, and you have to handle it with grace and like, hey, I understand your frustration, but we need to come up with a plan. So it's coming up with a plan to keep them current. And I did really well. I hit all my bonuses. I was actually going to cross-train as a credit analyst to do auto loans. And then that whole Wells Fargo credit card scandal happened, and they...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what did they do? They shut down your department?
They did, yeah. So they actually moved everybody to hubs. So it was, I think, North Carolina, Texas, and Arizona, they moved the hubs. So it was either... I kind of had heard a whisper that this was going to happen.
Okay.
So I was putting in applications because, again, I'm a single mom. Like, yes, the $5,000 severance pay, great. But I was like, what am I going to do? And I owned a property, too. Because of my mentor, I was able to purchase a multifamily for my first house.
Oh, how cool. So we're going to talk a little bit about your mentor.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're pointing to Chris, right?
I
You're
am
talking
pointing
about
to
Chris.
Chris,
And Chris spends half his time in Sarasota, Florida.
Yes.
Right? And the other half of his time he spends up in Massachusetts with you or the surrounding areas. I say with you, but in the same geographic location that you're in. And I know Chris has played a pretty important part in your life throughout mortgage and not mortgage.
Yes.
And so you are not just a young single mom, but also a young single mom who is a home buyer.
Correct.
Or homeowner.
Yeah, I was 21.
You were 21 when you bought your first house.
Yep.
Good for you. So in a way, you chose or were forced to grow up fast, but you also, with your good mentorship, made some good decisions. One of those good decisions was buy a home, and not just any home, but a multifamily.
Correct.
Do you still own that home?
I don't. I sold it.
Okay. Are you happy you sold it?
100%.
You are?
Yes, because I was able to go into mortgages. That's how I started.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get into that. So we're going to fast forward. So Wells Fargo was going great until it wasn't.
Yep.
At which point, when it wasn't, they gave you a severance package. You're freaking the F out. Okay, this isn't enough to last but maybe a month. I have to do something. That's when you fell into medical billing.
Correct.
Okay, and you did medical billing obviously pretty well because they ended up making you a supervisor.
I got hired on right as a supervisor.
Wow.
Yeah. I was in the interview, and they're like, I don't think that you're qualified. I think you're overqualified for a rep.
Okay.
They said, we have a supervisor position we'd love to offer you.
Nice.
Yes, it was incredible.
And how long did you do that for?
About 6 years.
Okay. And then you got into mortgage. Mm-hmm. What drove you into mortgage?
One, it was Chris, my mentor, but 2, it was feeling every day, I was working and I wasn't fulfilled, and what did it actually, I was sitting there one day and I had to always listen to my reps calls to make sure they're talking appropriately to clients and customers and, well, patients. And
Did you listen to them in like 2x speed, or did you just listen to it like in real time speed?
I had to do real time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it was rough. Some calls were an hour. So
Yeah.
you had to make sure, though, that they're doing the right things, following HIPAA, et cetera. And this gentleman, he had, she was like, oh, you have a X amount of balance today. Can we collect on that? And he was like, well, I actually have a terminal brain tumor, and when I die, you can collect it then from my attorney. And like, I was sitting there and I was like, why am I doing this job? Like, it's not fulfilling for me. I'm not helping people. Like, it just wasn't for me anymore. I mean, I was good at it and I liked it to a certain extent, but like, it wasn't it for me.
Yeah.
And then I had this awesome opportunity during COVID. There was back and forth on, was I going to have a job during COVID, because they were laying people off. And Chris is like, now is the time. You can sell your multifamily. You can have, a nest egg. And I was able to sell my multifamily, have a nest egg, and then do whatever I wanted to do now.
I love this part of your journey. Okay, now there's so much that we could really unpack. Like anyone who's trying to follow along at home and figure out, okay, how can I be more like Kayla, or how can my story sound like Kayla's story? It's like, well, there's a certain part of she grew up really early, right? So you got to experience so much of life. And I do believe that the mortgage industry is something in which the more life experience you have, the better you are at relating with realtors, at relating to borrowers, even the confidence that you may have because you've been beaten down once or twice,
Yeah.
and you've learned those lessons the hard way. So, but you bought a home, which is what we teach others to do and we preach. And that home, from when you bought it to when you sold it, earned you equity.
A lot of equity.
A lot of equity. Can I ask, like, roughly how much?
Like 200%.
200%, right? So whether it's 50 grand or 100 grand, you were able to resign from your medical billing job that you liked. I'm sure it paid decently. Yeah. You didn't necessarily love it, but it was maybe better than what you had prior. So, Wells Fargo having their scandal and you being laid off maybe worked out in your favor.
Correct.
But you were able to tap into this nest egg and leverage it to basically start a new career.
Correct.
Did you have enough for like going 6 months without a commission check, 12 months without a commission check?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which probably allows you to then go all in.
Yes. Luckily, I didn't have to go out without a commission check at first, because I was actually a loan partner for my mentor
No
for
way.
the first year and a half.
Okay. So you resigned,
Yep.
sold your home, decided to rent, because you're playing a game of chess, not a game of checkers right now.
So actually, I owned another. He helped me buy 3 properties.
Oh,
so I
wow.
own 3.
Wait, we all need a Chris Galley in our
Yeah,
lives.
you really do.
Wow, we all need a Chris in our lives. Yeah. So, okay, so you had owned one property, then you retained it, did a little house hacking, purchased another one, retained it, purchased another one.
Correct.
So you had owned 3 properties. So you had a decent amount of assets.
I did. Yep.
Yes. So you liquidated one of your assets.
Actually, 2 of them.
Okay.
One of them wasn't ever going to make me a lot of money. It was just something that I got into, but the other one did. So it was perfect. So I liquidated those and I was on to a fresh start. So
it's almost like you got rid of one liability and you cashed in one asset.
Pretty much.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because that one property was like, a little 6-7 on whether or not we're going to make money here.
Correct.
Let's just go ahead and unload it, clear the cap table. But we do have this asset that was your first home that you purchased. Let's take that, liquidate it, take those funds, put them onto the sideline. So now you have that comfort of being able to go all in. And for you, all in wasn't necessarily diving to the deep end. You were able to like go hang out on the shallow end, on what they call the sun shelf. Yeah. Like you're on a sun shelf. You had your margarita in your hand. Probably not.
I was definitely really nervous. It was definitely something so different for me. And I was so blessed because I had Chris and his wife, Julie, who literally just helped me and walked me through everything. And when you learn from somebody in the business who's been in the business 26 years, you're learning everything. You have their entire database and you're learning their strategies and you're learning how to talk to people and you're learning how to structure a loan, how to jigsaw it. So for my clients, I never tell them, no, it's let's go. We plan on
say that again.
No, let's go.
Yeah, you never tell them no. You tell them.
Let's go.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep. That's my thing. I actually always say when your lender says no, I say let's go.
Okay.
Because even if it's not now, it's when. We're coming up with a plan for you to buy, whether it's now, whether it's a year, whether it's 2 years. Like, I'm your partner to do that. So they feel like they're in this with someone. It's not, I tell them, you're more than a mortgage to me. You're not a financial transaction. Like, we're going to walk through life together. Essentially, like, they send me their kids' pictures and their updates and their house updates. And, you know, my first client actually is now looking at her next property. So it's really exciting.
Like your first client ever.
Yeah.
So you worked for Chris for 18 months. I'm assuming you made a fraction of what you're making in medical billing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was part of the sacrifice.
It was, yeah. But I mean, they did not a fraction, but it was less at first. And then, you know, I was lucky because Chris did a lot of volume, so I got bonuses. So yes, I mean, it was less, but it was still enough to get me by.
Yeah, but you had the nest egg. And here's,
Correct.
I guess I should maybe share with you, like, why I'm angling the way I'm angling with the conversation is, you know, I get to spend, well, the past 6 years helping shape the future of the mortgage industry. And a lot of it's people who are wanting to get in, or they recently got in. And I have recently started doing career advisory services. It's a free service I provide to the mortgage industry. So now, like this week alone, I've already talked to 9 people. It's Tuesday. Okay, I've already talked to 9 people, and a lot of them are still a little bit lost and scared. And I wish they would have found me earlier, because here's what I would tell them. And I'm pulling this out of your story.
Yeah.
Like, it takes 6 months.
Yep.
If you don't have 6 months or the ability to go 6 months without taking a paycheck, you might not be ready. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're like me, I just deferred student loans. I cut off my cable. I sold a vehicle, and I put everything on a credit card for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of sacrifice I was willing to make. You were willing to sell an asset that was probably near and dear to you because it was the first home that you ever owned. And then you were actually able to go work at a discount to make less money than you were used to making because you understood the power of knowledge and the power of mentorship. You found someone who's willing to mentor you. Not everyone can, right? Not everyone's that fortunate, but you were, and you were willing to go work for 18 months, probably more than 40 hours a week, and probably making less money than you were accustomed to because mentally you're playing this game of chess where it's not about this year or next year. It's about 2026, when you start making close to $500,000 a year as a mortgage loan originator, not even like barely into her 30s, I'm guessing.
Just hit 33.
Just hit 33. Yeah. Not a bad life you're living, Chica.
No,
like
definitely not.
We call that like fucking badass where I come from. Yeah. You probably call it wicked awesome.
Wicked cool.
Wicked cool where you come from. Yeah. Okay. So that's just a little bit of like details for the audience who's tuning in and be like, hey, I want to be more like Kayla. You can. But it takes sacrifice. Yeah. It takes finding a good mentor, right? Sometimes it takes timing.
And not a negative mindset.
Okay, and not a negative mindset.
That is the biggest thing that I will offer to anybody. Actually, Chris had me read Think and Grow Rich, too.
Yes, by Napoleon Hill?
Correct.
Okay.
And then when I was younger, I watched The Secret.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that that's so important. Like, your mindset is everything. And I remember, like, reading in that book, it's like if you wake up and you smash your leg in the day, I think it was that book, and your whole day's messed up after that. Like, it's going to be a bad day. You have that thought and your whole day is messed up. But if you have that positive mindset, it's going to be a great day, or I'm going to do a great job, or there's never a no. There's always motivation behind what I say and what I tell my clients. And if you're having that negative mindset all the time, you're going to get negative results. If you have that positive mindset, like, it doesn't matter what it's going to take, I'm going to get it done. It changes it can shape your whole future differently.
So you're a glass half full girl.
Always. Yeah.
Always. And you've always been that way?
Always.
Loan officers, if 2026 is going to be your breakout year, this matters. Most originators don't struggle because of rates. They struggle because they don't have systems, structure, or accountability. I'm Coach Christy with TLAP's Originator Coaching. Originator Launch is a 16-week small group coaching program designed to help you build a real business, not just close the next loan. You'll get weekly live coaching, proven scripts used by top producers, real accountability, homework that actually moves the needle, and 2 private one-on-one calls with your coach. This program is capped at just 10 originators, so the attention is personal and the results are real. This isn't a course you watch. It's coaching you execute. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building with intention, apply now. Spots are limited, and once they're gone, enrollment closes. Register today.
So you were a loan partner from what years? Are we like 21, 22 this time frame?
22 to 23.
Okay, 22 to 23. It's funny, people can't see this on YouTube. No, it's so fun. Most people listen on Spotify or Apple.
Yep.
And I tell the people who are listening on Spotify or Apple, like, you would love our YouTube channel because I have like 400 like coaching videos and sales training videos that you don't have access to on Spotify or Apple. But for those that are watching the episode on YouTube, you can see Kayla's looking up over the cameras because Chris is in the room with us, which is really cool because it's like, you know, a little bit of like a proud dad type moment,
Always,
sitting in the
yeah.
back and big smile on his face. Like, yeah, I helped do that, you know? But what I want to get at is you started originating in 24. What did you do coming out of the gates? Because you did 12 million.
Yep.
Now you told me 6 million was in your name, 6 million was in someone else's name.
Yep.
Was that, could I do the licensing or different states or?
It's just because I wasn't sure if I was ready to quite go on my own yet.
You were doing some lead gen, you'd bring it in and the team would fund it.
Correct.
Until eventually, like, you know what, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start funding these loans in my own name. But those first, I mean, you're in Massachusetts, your average loan size, I'm guessing, is 400,000. You did 12 million. You did 30 transactions.
I think I did 68 transactions last year.
No, not last year. I was going to your first year.
Oh, my first
Your
year.
first year.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
30, sorry.
yeah. You're in your first year. You probably did close to 30 transactions.
Yep.
Like, there's many people. I don't know if you know this. I just pulled the Redder data. Like, some of the largest brokerages in the U.S., like, they're averaging less than 1 unit per month per originator.
Yeah.
Others are averaging 1.5. I pulled up Zillow's numbers. Like, Zillow, like, you figure I'm getting all these leads coming in from Zillow or Better, right? Better spends all that money on marketing. Even there, they're averaging like 2.5 units per originator. You walked in your first 12 months, you did 30. So here's what the audience wants to know. What did you do to generate those 120 or 150 leads? How did you fund 30 loans for 12 million in your first 12 months?
So when I first started in the business, and what I noticed from my mentor, Chris, is he was always on Facebook. He would do Facebook Lives. He would always be everywhere. Like, you would see him commenting.
He's such a boomer, though.
He always went with the times with that.
Yeah, full disclosure, Chris and I are the same age. Yeah, so are pretty close. So we're not technically boomers.
Yeah.
We're actually closer to being millennials than we are boomers. But anyhow, so you saw him on Facebook.
Yeah, he would just be everywhere, and he'd be commenting and like motivational, and I just loved what he was doing. And I started doing that right off the gate.
Okay.
So even when I was on, his loan partner, I started doing that. And I would comment, I would share, and then I would go to open houses. I would do whatever it took.
What was the point of going to open houses?
I think it's so beneficial because even if there's no one that shows up, you have an hour or 2 hours with a realtor to show them who you are, to get to know them, to see if you guys would work well together. So if I saw a realtor was having an open house and they didn't have anybody there, I'd be like, hey, like, if you ever need help in an open house, let me know. And what I noticed when I went there is a lot of realtors are using pen and paper still. Like, that's crazy to me when they have open house guests come in. And how long does it take after, or can you read their writing to like get everybody's names and numbers? So I was actually bringing my laptop. I created an Excel spreadsheet. I got first names, last names, emails. Do they have a home to sell? Are they working with a realtor and lender? And then I would send it to the realtor after, and they're like, what? Like, this is awesome.
You're like, this is like common sense.
Yeah, like, to me, it just didn't make sense that they were still like, and one of my top realtor partners today, she does, I don't know, her team does 100 million in volume. She was doing that. And I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And I was checking them in for her. And she's like, I've never, like, I was providing value. She's like, I've never had anybody do that ever. But so I was doing that, and I was really showing up on social media. And then when I started getting business, I would not only tag the buyer's agent, I would tag the list agent, I would tag the title attorney, I would tag my home insurance agent that I work with.
Like, every time you got like a clear to close, or you got
every time I got anything, I was celebrating my wins.
Yeah.
And I call that humble bragging.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is people are like, why would you do that? Like, I saw realtors doing it all the time. These are my deals too, just as much as it's theirs. Like, we should be celebrating what we're doing. And a lot of people weren't doing that. Lenders were not doing closing posts. They were not doing in-contract posts. So like, realtors can do it. I can too. And it was changing the way that I was showing up because I was in every single person's feed that I was tagging. So this new loan officer out of nowhere is coming out the gate everywhere. They're like, who is Kayla Tarabay? Where is she from? Like, why do I see her everywhere? And then it just kept compounding. And I recognized that social media was where I was starting to shine, and I was generating leads from realtors. Realtors were sending me leads just based on social media and open houses.
And that's super important, right? Realtors were sending you leads on social media. There's a couple of things I'd unpack is, I love the fact that you were working open houses with intentionality. I think one of the biggest myths people have in our industry is they think they work open houses to find home buyers and borrowers. And I'm like, look, that's the cherry on top of the sundae.
Correct.
You're there to meet a real estate agent. That's where they are, and hopefully build a relationship.
Correct.
Like, that's why we're doing it. You leveraged what I call online networking.
Yep.
Early on. I mean, you saw Chris doing it. You're like, look, if this old dude can do it, I sure as heck can do it. And you probably present better and you attract a different audience, but it wasn't about going on social to generate a buyer lead. It wasn't be on social to get a borrower to refi with you. It's like, no, I'm working on my personal brand. I want to be the most known person in my market. And then people reach out to me because they want to work with me. And
Correct.
the people who did were realtors.
Correct.
Realtors start seeing you post.
Correct.
Realtors are seeing you tag some of their competitors. You'd be like, well, if that competitor is working with Kayla, maybe I should too. And obviously, I'm sure your personality and your positivity is shining through. And there's like, yeah, I don't have someone like that in my life. I need someone like that in my life. And that's the lesson I'd want people to take from watching you. It's like, and by the way, you haven't yet said anything, and I don't expect you will, that is like AI this, AI that, or revolutionary.
Yep.
Meaning the things that you're doing at 33 years of age that you started doing at 29 years of age, and we're in the 2020s, are the same things you could have been doing in 1996. You could have been doing them in 2006, 2016. They just happen to be working also in 2026.
Correct.
So then what did you do to go from 12 to 40? Was it more of the same, or did you start to level up at some point?
So I would say a little bit of both, but
Okay.
I realized that I wanted to make my content more aesthetic. I want it to seem very cohesive. I ended up hiring somebody to help me, and it took my business from 6 to 40. I mean,
Literally, you hiring a full-time
social media.
media
manager.
marketing
Correct.
person.
Yep.
Wow. And is that person full-time?
Yeah, she's full-time-ish for the most part, but I'm still figuring out. That's the thing too, is that she wasn't from that sphere. She was a mom blogger and an influencer. So it's figuring out like what her actual role is, what she's supposed to post, what's working, what's not working. So we're doing that together and we're figuring it out. But I found it's not only just having somebody post for you. Like, I still have to do a lot of work with it. I still have to do engagement. I still have to show up. I still have to support my realtor partners. I go to events. Like, there's a whole mix of things.
That's where I wanted to go, because
Yeah.
you're talking a lot about content and social, which I love.
Yep.
And I love hearing that. Like, look, I made good money when I did 12 million. I made better money when I did 28 million. But you didn't keep it all for yourself. You reinvested it.
Correct.
Right. You started hiring some who's. Right. If you ever read the book, it's who, not how.
Yes.
Right. We know how to do many things, but we can't do it all ourselves. So we found someone. But you weren't just doing social.
Yeah.
Talk about the events that you do.
If you're a licensed originator who's closing loans, but you're not consistent, this is for you. If you're brand new or just looking for motivation, trust me, this is not for you. Most LOs don't need more information. They need structure. They need proven processes and somebody to hold them accountable. T-Lob's Originator Coaching gives you weekly live coaching, scripts top producers actually use, and step-by-step business systems you can implement immediately. Not someday, we're talking day one. You're not watching videos alone. You're executing in real time with other originators who take this seriously. Right now, you can try it free for 2 weeks. That's 2 full weeks for free. You'll sit in on live coaching calls. You'll get access to the frameworks and see exactly how top producers run their business. If it creates clarity, if it creates momentum, or even if it puts wins on the board, you keep going. If it doesn't, no worries, you can cancel. No pressure at all. Click the link, start the 2-week trial, and finally, build this like a business, not a side hustle.
Oh, I do so many events. So I've been a lot of women's events lately. So we just did an Elevate Her event. It talks about where we came from, where we are and where we're going, how women can do that, and like they can feel comfortable with like sharing their stories and where they can come from, and that they can do it and they can invest in themselves, or they can, like, we had doctors in there, we had homeopathic specialists in there, we had soon to be investors in there. It was an incredible event.
And are you doing this, is that a passion project, or is that still very business focused?
It's both, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. So anything that you do, you go in with intentionality that, hey, this person that I'm on this board with is someone that can refer me a realtor, refer me a builder, or come to me when they need a home loan.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's the cherry on top when you get business from them, but it's also like it's so great that I get to be a part of something to help other people.
Yeah.
And I think that that's it for me, is that I'm really doing a job where I get to help other people, whether it's single moms getting into their new investment properties, whether it's somebody who was in the business, who owns their own business, that they think they can't buy a house because they don't claim everything that they should on their tax returns. But that's why we have different products that we can do, or they have different options, or they just had to talk to the right people to get them there. But when it comes to the women's events, it's just been an incredible journey in doing that. And I can't wait to see what's next with that and what we're going to do with that. But I mean, I show up to my realtors events. Like, what I will say, the best thing that you can do is you're providing value to them. When you provide value, that they're not going to not work with you because you're helping them build their business too. This isn't just about my business, it's about our business together. Like, how do we grow together? So that's what I say when I talk to my realtor partners. Like, I don't just want you to send me business. Like, I want to grow. What are we going to do to help you? What can I do that provides value to you to grow your business? So I do a lot of collaborations on social media. I will do photo shoots. I will show up to their events. And that's one of the top things one of my top realtor partners will say. Kayla showed up everywhere. She was just there.
What type of events are you talking about? Are these like client appreciation events? Are these like they adopt the neighborhood, they bring in the Easter Bunny, or are they open houses, brokers opens, like anything? Like if they're doing something in the community, yes, you're there.
Yes, I try to be there. It's hard because I have many now, but anything that they really need me to come to, or that I can and have the ability to, I do. I do show up to as many open houses as I can. It's a little bit harder as you get busier, right? But I still want them to know that I'm there, or if I can sponsor anything, if I can't be there, or just anything to help them and show up.
Yeah, so you use social to get your personal brand out. You use social to be known.
Yes.
And then as you started being known, then people would want to reach out to you. Yes. As they reach out to you, that was your invitation to be like, hey, let's sit down and meet. I need to ask you a bunch of questions. All the questions are about how can I help you grow? And then once you figured out how to help them grow, you figured, well, what do I do to stay top of mind? Well, I'm going to show up. Yeah. Right? I'm going to show up. And so much is interesting. As a parent, you and I have learned just showing up, right? That's like half the battle. Correct. Right? In life, in general, just show up. Just show up. You'll be amazed at what happens, whether it's attending that networking function, whether it's posting online. Posting online is showing up. Just show up. Yeah, your first post is not as good as your 60th post. And I bet the social media content you start creating at the back half of 26 will be way better than what you're doing in the back half of 24. Yep. Right? But you're like, the answer is just show up, work full time, right? Be likable, but make it about them. And them is both your realtors and your borrowers. I want you to share with the group, as long as it doesn't give away too many of your secrets. Yeah. You shared with me before we started rolling the camera, something that you do for your borrowers that impresses the realtors. And it takes you like 5 minutes to do.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I always have my initial client call with my clients. And what we do is we go through their goals. I always ask them, what is your monthly payment goal? Because, for instance, if I can pre-approve you for $1 million home, it doesn't mean that you want to afford $1 million home. So where is your budget? So we go over budget. So they're like, okay, it's $4,000 a month. So I will go in the areas that they're looking in. They told me, they want an X bedroom house or whatever, just because they're just communicating with me. Yeah. Like they're just telling me their story.
It's like first date conversations.
Pretty much. Yeah. Like what are you guys looking for? Oh, we want a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Like we're looking for this because our family's growing, or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, okay. So I'll look and I'll be like, okay, so there's like 4 houses in your neighborhood or your area that we can kind of look at, and I'll send it. She's like, oh, can you send me that? So I'll send it to them, and they actually send it to the realtor, and they say, hey, we talked about this with Kayla, and we really want to go see this house. So the realtor is like, wow, I've never seen anybody do that.
Like the realtor maybe even hasn't even done like an MLS search yet. They haven't even put them in their car yet.
No.
This is like the initial conversation.
Correct.
But you're taking it one step further.
Yep.
And okay. And then the realtors, for the most part, receptive to that?
Yeah, and I would say 99%. There was only one time that was not happy about it.
One?
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't think we should ever make any career or life decisions based on one.
No, absolutely
not.
Not.
We're not in this business for one borrower or one referral source, right? You're probably trying to help 2,000 or 3,000 borrowers. You're trying to work with hundreds of realtors. Yep. What's next for you? Like, I mean, you're already on track. We're in March recording this. This will probably drop end of March, beginning of April. You said things are looking good. You're going to hit that target of 40 million. But what's next?
Ooh.
Like, what keeps you going?
Honestly, just helping people. Like, I am trying to help as many people as I can. I think homeownership is when they say, real estate makes you rich, it's not a lie.
Yeah.
I definitely think that I want to get as many people out of renting as possible. Obviously, there's a time where people might need to rent for a little bit. But it's just to see how I can grow and how I can help as many people as possible. And it's always coming up with different ideas. And like, for instance, the posting the in contracts, the posting those, that was great. But now there's a lot of loan officers who are doing that, which is great. I'm glad they're taking advice. But I actually want to do something different than everybody else is doing. So I'm going to have new things coming soon. I'm really excited.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah. No, they're really exciting.
But are you trying to open your own branch? Would you ever want to like get out of production and run a division? Are you trying to chase builders? Are you trying to get to 100 million? Or is it I'm just trying to help people and get 1% better per day?
I mean, in 5 years, I was talking to Shayla Gifford, and she actually stood on stage and told me, she's like the Kayla Tarabays, who in the next 5 years will do 100 million in volume.
Yeah.
So I think that's my goal.
That had to make you feel good.
It made me feel amazing, and she had a 5-minute conversation with me.
She's a beast.
She's absolutely incredible.
She's absolutely incredible. We had her on the show about a year and a half ago. She's someone I've looked up to and respected for the past 15 years. I mean, she's been a beast for 15 years because I remember where I was when she was on stage and being like, damn, seriously?
Yeah.
And she continues to get 1% better per day. So that's it. It's continue to lean into your moment, your time to shine. I mean, and Shayla's right. I mean, you represent the future of mortgage lending, right? There's this guy, Chris Clock out there, PJ Crescenzo. Like, y'all don't know each other, but you need to get to know each other. Like, guys like Chris and I, we had great careers, and we're not looking to hang it up anytime soon. However, I sure as hell hope I get to hang it up and then let someone like you come in and grab the baton and run with it, because you represent everything great with the industry and you are the future. So this has been a pleasure getting to know you on a more personal level as well as obviously professional level. If people want to follow you, how do you follow Kayla Tarabay?
So I'm Kayla_Home Mortgage on Instagram, and just Kayla Tarabay on Facebook, LinkedIn, and it's Kayla Home Mortgage on TikTok.
Yep. And she is oh my God. Yeah. So it's interesting. When you try to say Kayla Tarabay, it comes out Kara.
Yep.
It comes out Taylor.
Or Tara, I've heard too.
Or Tara.
Yeah.
You could be a Tara.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if your mom wanted to go back and rename you.
She would still name me Kayla, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. I like the name. She did a good job. Tell her I said good job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. But no, Kayla Tarabay with Novus Home Mortgage. Yes. But on Instagram, which is probably your biggest following, right? It's on IG.
Yep.
Is Kayla_ Tarabay.
Home Mortgage.
Home Mortgage.
Yes.
Awesome. Any parting words?
No, just thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been really great to get to know you too, because I've been watching you. So it's really exciting.
That sounds creepy, by the way.
Well,
maybe I've been tuning into the show for the past 3 years. I think it's effing amazing.
Yeah, let's do that.
You want to do that one instead?
Yeah, let's go with that one. Sounds better.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm watching you. Better, don't slip up.
Hey, I see you everywhere, so that's good. It means what you're doing is working.
You know what's interesting about the I see you? It's like a little bonus material. I see you everywhere. That also can work against you. Right? Because the reason why we post is because we want to be well known. We want people to see us. However, I once had some business partners for a whole different ball of wax, whole different episode, that because my social media was working so well, they thought that's all I did.
Wow.
I'm like, guys, I spend 2 hours a week doing content. 2 hours. I spend 43 hours helping run the business. But perception's reality.
Yeah.
Right? So very rarely will it ever work against you. And quickly we were able to work through that disagreement. I was able to prove to them, but it just shows the power, right? People probably think up in Massachusetts, up in the Boston area, like, Kayla's everywhere. Yeah. And you're like, well, kind of, sort of, but I also just spent a couple hours making sure I remind you who I am and what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, real quick, when I was staying with Chris and Julie, when I started the business, they had me come down and really, I stayed with them and they taught me everything. I was there for a month, but people for 3 years thought that I lived there.
Did they really?
Yeah.
They thought you lived in Sarasota.
Yeah. They literally, because I would post like every couple months or when I'd go down that I was having a drink in Florida or something, and they literally thought that I lived there. So it's just perception from
Yeah.
social media.
Well, look, I thank you again for making the drive, making the flight, right? Because you had to fly to Sarasota, then drive to Orlando. I'm sure you and Chris got some decent catch-up time in the car, though, and you have another 3 hours to catch up. I'm hoping you'll stick around. Let's do some more content together.
Yeah.
I have this new feature called Talk Mortgage to Me. I think you have a couple scenarios that we can introduce to potential home buyers to learn from, but we have to find a way to wrap up today's show. So here's how I'll do so. She's Kayla and I'm Dustin Owen. You just tuned in to Loan Officer Podcast. If you like content like this, do us a favor. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, give us a 5-star review. That's how it tells others that this content doesn't suck. If you like to watch free training videos, free coaching, or just watch podcasts in general, go to our YouTube channel. It's at TLOP Entertainment. That's where you can watch this episode, but you can also have access to content like Talk Mortgage to Me, Coach's Corner, or even Mortgage School. If you want to connect with me, first name Dustin, last name Owen, I'm all over LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram at the Loan Officer Podcast. And if you're not getting it already, I write a newsletter. I heard it doesn't suck. It comes out every Thursday. tloponline.com is where you'll sign up for the newsletter. It's a 3-minute read. It takes you 30 seconds to sign up. Again, that is tloponline.com. And for anyone interested, we have a cruise coming up in September, the first annual TLOP cruise. All that information is found on our website. I'd love to have you come hang out with us on the big boat. She's Kayla, I'm Dio. That's all the time we have for you today, but we look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.